Just want to say thanks for everybody who's on here and joining in today. And we're doing different topics every Tuesday and Thursday, which you can see. This is week 5 of our 9-week webinar program, which will probably be extended past then. We've had a lot of requests for a lot of things, and this request came out a lot earlier about IRAs and the different changes and how they can help you and how they can hurt you at the same time. Next week, we will be doing Baby Boomer Basics, which is a very educated, presented by myself and the American Retirement Institute, which we've joined forces with recently during these times to do what we do best, and that's strictly education, education, education. Of course, that's myself and our radio show every Saturday on WBT. These are all the publications, and getting ready to grow. The American Retirement Institute will be adding their logo on there shortly, so I can't wait to get that one updated too, because that's a big one that we've been joining to. And of course, if you have not received my book that I wrote, I had it published last year, Across the Bridge Retirement, it's complimentary. We can either send you a e-copy or send you a physical copy, your choice. Just call or text that number 704-307-0202, and we'd be more than happy to get that out to you for yourself. And of course, the webinars, Lauren's been doing a great job, all of the team setting these up, and like I said, they're lined up for the next several weeks. Going to donotlosemoney.com to sign up for those webinars as well. And like I said, all the different topics and everything are perfect for everybody. So, so let's just jump right into it. There's different types of retirement risk when it comes to retirement. And we always talk about this every week with my clients, with my prospects, on the radio and so forth. But these are the 5 personal ones that I think that I've done that have biggest risk that can hurt your retirement, everywhere from market risk, tax risk, inflation risk, healthcare risk, and of course, I think the biggest one of all is the longevity risk, because nobody really knows how long they're going to live in retirement. So talking about IRAs, and believe it or not, this is one of the most common questions that people have issues with and that they don't understand is, what is the difference between qualified money / an IRA and non-qualified money? Well, qualified money can be more valuable than other non-qualified money, possibly. This is where you're limited in your annual IRA and 401 contributions. You should keep it safer. And since you cannot add money to your IRA to make up for market losses, you should really keep it safer. At the end of the day, qualified money is money that you've made a deal with the government on to keep it tax deferred and protected in that aspect, whether it's through an IRA, through a traditional IRA, Roth, SEP, 401k, 403b, etc. Where non-qualified money is just money that you put in your back pocket and that you're going to spend it as it is, and you have no limitations on it whatsoever. So requirement, yeah, tough word for me to say this morning, required minimum distributions have changed, but how important is that for tax deferral? I mean, tax deferral is very important because you're not paying your taxes on your money now, you're paying it later. So you get a thing called triple compounded interest. Triple compounded interest is you get interest on your principal, you get interest on the interest, and you get interest on the taxes that you would have paid, creating a triple compounding effect. So all IRAs are tax deferred until you have to start taking your RMDs out now at the age of 72 years old. If you were born before 70 last year on January 1st, it's now 72 years old. That letting this money compound the 3 ways, boom. Besides an annuity for non-qualified, there's no other way to get this compounded interest except for using the benefits and power of an IRA. So how long must your money last? Well, this changes on a weekly basis, it seems like, but so many different studies is a healthy male, and they're just telling you the chances that you have of living to a certain age. Right now, the male is right around 84 years and 7 months is a male, and a female is like right around 87 years and 1 month is the standard. Not taking this virus and all this stuff in consider, we're talking healthy lifestyle. And then a healthy couple, 65 years old, I mean, you got a heck of a chance of living into your 90 years old, 90s and above. So making that money last and using your IRAs properly in your retirement process is very important to yourself. So when it comes to your money, you have 3 basic areas of where you're saving for retirement. You have your IRAs and retirement accounts, which is what we're talking about today. pensions, which is going to be a topic in a couple weeks from now, and Social Security, which we just recently covered in a previous workshop webinar, excuse me. And those are three of your main sources of where you're spending your money to alleviate the risk that you're going for in retirement. So let's just get rid of pensions off the get-go. I mean, they're gone. I mean, they're just about eliminated out there in the workplace. And this is a little older screen from 2013, but it can just show you the amount of pensions that were out there and how slowly they've gone down to traditional pensions. I mean, we're at this point in 2013, traditional pensions were at 26. It's below 5% now of Fortune 500 companies that have pensions available to you. And especially in the times that we're going through with this coronavirus and shift change of America, that's what I've been calling it on the radio, and we're going through a shift change of changing the way we live our life, unfortunately. Pensions are pretty much disabled. And so people counting on pensions, they're not there, but if you have one, God hope it stays there and it doesn't default and get bought out like a lot of other ones like through FedEx and so forth. So I was asking a lot of my clients, and we did some surveys and stuff over the past, and different people, like, what are their questions about their IRA? And like, these are the most common questions by most people. And no, that's not a client of mine on the left, but she does look like my daughter's school teacher. Can I contribute it to a retirement account? And so how much? And these are things we're going to cover. What type of retirement accounts is right for me? Everybody's situation is different. When do I need to take withdrawals and how much do I have to take? Those are RMDs. We'll cover that shortly. How are your IRA withdrawals taxed? Again, everybody is different depending on what kind of IRA it is. How does my IRA fit in my overall plan? What happens to the IRA when I die? And how can I minimize taxes? And these are some common questions, but every single one of them is important to have a successful retirement going forward. Let's get to the basics. Traditional IRA is the most common IRA out there. All the contributions may be tax deductible depending on your salary, but there is no limitation on how much money you can make to contribute to an IRA. If you take money out prior to 59.5, you'll be subject to a 10% penalty, but it grows tax deferred the whole time it's in the IRA in the account, and withdrawals are generally added to your ordinary income. Right now, if you're over the age of 50, you can add $7,000 to your IRA as a catch-up. Under the age of 60, it's $6,000. But as long as you're showing earned income, you can contribute to the IRA. And let's just say Mr. John decides to add $7,000 to his IRA this year, and he is working. He can add that into his tax bucket and maybe get majority of that $7,000 tax deductible. That's a very good thing if used properly. The downside of traditional IRAs is when you start taking the money out on the road, it is going to go into your income and it's going to increase your taxes at that point. Like I said, once again, the contribution for 2020 is $7,000 over the age of 50, and you have to have compensation such as earned income, or yes, they just added this one, taxable alimony. And new laws will allow you to contribute past the age of 70.5 now, as long as you have earned income compensation. Before the Secure Act of 2019, which we have a webinar on that one as well, if you wanted to watch it previously, you couldn't contribute to a traditional IRA past 70.5. Now you're allowed to. Very important to understand that. Now, Susan Tompor, baby boomers must study the IRA rules. I'm not going to go into this article, but it's a great article. We can share it to you. That paying attention to the deadlines when my retirement accounts hit 70.5 and how it can trigger a 50% tax penalty. And that's simple as the biggest thing of the IRA is if you don't take out your correct amount of RMD, you're going to get nailed with a 50% tax penalty. Very serious penalty. And a lot of people, even if it's 1 penny, it can add up real quickly. So why do RMDs exist? Well, this is a thing I said it's a difference, which I think is kind of ironic. We have a peso over there going into the piggy bank, but it's kind of comical. It's a deal that you made with the government, saying, hey, the government's going to say, hey, you can put this money into an IRA, 401k, 403b, 457, whatever you want it to put in, and we're going to keep it tax deferred for you, so you don't have to pay taxes on it. But once you hit the certain age, now 72 years old, we want you to start taking that money out. You have to start taking money out because we want the taxes. And if you are on the call here right now and you are supposed to take an RMD out this year, let you know that because of the stimulus package, this is offline, you are not required to take out an RMD this year. So that's very important to know. But the government wants you to save for retirement. It wants to give you incentives to do so with pre-tax contributions and tax-deferred growth, but it still wants their cut. Excuse me. So WISE exists. The annual amount that must be withdrawn from a traditional IRA or retirement plan reaches participation rate. And right now that participation rate is 72 years old. So once you hit 72 years old, it's basically, let's just push the clock forward. You turn 72 this year. Whatever your 1048 says at the end of this year, that's what your value of your IRA is. Excuse me, coffee is getting into me. Value IRAs, and that's what you have to start taking out by next year at some point. The last date allowed for the first withdrawal is April 1st, following the year of the account turns 72 years old. Most people take their RMD out within the first same year when they reach 72, or it used to be 70 and a half, and for double payment, but now you can wait to the next year. But that means you have to take out 2 RMDs in 1 year, which could highly increase your tax consequences at one point. Not an accountant, not a bookkeeper in that aspect, but you might want to talk to them to see when the best time is to take out that RMD for yourself. And this is a common thing of what account do I take the RMD from? You have all these different IRAs out there, and you're like I have one person who actually has 11 IRAs, and they thought they were working with another advisor, and they are now 77 years old, and they've been taking a little bit out of every one of them, thinking to hit their RMD total. When in all reality is you can add it all up, as long as you're taking out the correct RMD amount from anywhere, you subsidized your RMD for that calendar year, and less chance to get tax penalized at the same time. So if you, in this scenario, let's just say blue, red, and green, you have the green IRA is kicking booty and doing really well out there, and then you have the blue one who's doing okay, and then you have the red one who's getting destroyed in the market and stuff. Well, I think you might want to take your RMD out of the red one and save the money from the other ones from loss. So protection is very key in there. So as long as you complete your RMD, you are fine to go and good to go with that aspect. This is the one on the sheet also that we was supposed to be on the slideshow, but I had a mistake this morning and I deleted it off there, but we can get it for you. We have a full blown out sheet of life expectancy. This sheet makes no sense, whoever wrote it, but this is how much you have to obtain to pay for your RMDs going forward. So if you're 75 years old, your life expectancy is 22 years and 9 months. Now, if you remember earlier, we talked about the average life expectancy for a 65 years old male is around 85 and a half years old. So here they're saying that you're going to live to 97. So I don't know how they came up with this chart, but this is how they basically make the chart of how much you have to take out of your RMD every single year. Here's the full lifetime table all the way up to the age of 115. So long story, if you hit 100 years old, they think you're going to live to 106. If you're 86, you're only going to live to 100. So none of the numbers match, but long story short, is generally you start out around 3.5% of your RMD, and it goes up about 0.45% every year going forward until the account is distributed and fully liquid or fully disabled. Once again, 3.65% is the average percentage. It goes up here. These are uniform tables. They're rounded to the nearest hundredth. So if you want to budget for how much your RMD is going to be, you can take a screenshot of this. We can send it to you, but you can have an idea of how much money you're going to have to take out of your IRA accounts to avoid the 50% penalty down the road. And I'll leave this screen up here for a quick second where people can take a glance at it. So how does the RMD taxation work? Well, they're taxed 100% as ordinary income, and so they have no capital gains tax. And if they are any after-tax contributions, well, withdrawals are prorated. That's the one exception to the rule. So if you're looking at how it's going to affect tax liability in your RM creating, this is again from the official 2020 tax bracket, depends on your tax margin. This is going to show you what tax bracket you're going to take into, whether you're wealthy or middle class or however you're going to be, but how much you're taking out of your money showing in tax brackets. So if you're the standard person, married, making between $80,000 and $171,000, you're in a 22% tax bracket. If your RMDs put you into the next one, just that portion will put you in the 24% tax bracket and going all the way up to the 37% tax bracket. These are numbers from the Trump tax plans that will expire in the year 2025, which is only less than 5 years away, and you know how quickly that's going to get here. So right now, this is a very, very favorable tax bracket. Great time to consider doing Roth conversions right now, especially with the RMD rule, that you don't have to take out an RMD this year by the government. Another reason to take some of your IRA money and put it into a Roth IRA right now and not have to pay the taxes on it. We'll pay the taxes on it now, but then it becomes tax-free for the rest of your life. Great opportunity here, because taxes with the stimulus plan are only going to go higher, personally, in the future. Then we got Social Security. Why people say, well, what does Social Security have to do with the IRAs? Well, it doesn't have to do much about the IRAs, but it has to do about your taxes, because it adds up your income sources with your tax-free municipal bonds interest and takes half your Social Security benefits. And if your total is over X amount of dollars, you could be taxed all the way up to 85% of your Social Security. So when you're looking about how IRAs can hurt you, how much money you're taking out from IRAs if you're on Social Security could boost that number up. And we have a tax software here we can run for you to try to help you avoid this as much as possible. To 85% of your Social Security can be taxed, and that's just terrible. You already pay taxes on it once. But when you're looking at how much money you're taking out of your IRAs, it significantly can nail you to how much you're taking out in Social Security and pay double. I call this double taxation. So I think the three biggest RMD mistakes out there is the different types, aggregating your RMDs between different types of retirement accounts of like IRAs and 401ks, having them all, if you're going to have 3 IRAs and they're all going to be in high value risky stocks, I mean, what's the purpose of having them in 3 different areas? Having them between spouses and forgetting to take the RMD out and doing nothing about it. With the RMD, we did a workshop on that as well. The government will allow you a one-time forgiveness. They call it the forget rule. I think it's like I can't quote it exactly, but it's like the I forgot rule, where if let's just say Mr. Jim has $10,000 in IRMDs and he had a bad year or a crazy year and he forgot to put them out and he didn't take his $10,000 out, and they're going to penalize him $50,000 or $5,000. He could write a letter to the government and they would do it a one-time forgiveness for that RMD out there. Most of the RMD mistakes that happen are with spouses because they don't combine their RMDs properly, and that's when they get to the penalty part of the mistakes. So when you have your RMD that you have to take out from your IRA, what are you going to do with it? Well, there's really only 4 choices, in my opinion, that you can spend it on a vacation, a trip, or something making your house nicer. You can reinvest it somewhere else. You can gift it, or you can use it to buy life insurance. A lot of people, it's amazing that when they hit the RMD status, they don't need the money. So generally, one of these 4 people, you fall into one of these 4 categories. And generally, number 2 and 4 are the most common one, is they put it somewhere else, or they just buy life insurance with it. Now, options for a spousal IRA have changed a little bit with the Secure Act, but if you pass away right now, the IRA becomes a spousal rollover, and she has the election to treat it as her own IRA or cash it out. My mind is slipping right now. A stretch IRA has been eliminated for more than, so if you give it to a child or a charity or a grandson, they can't stretch it for more than 10 years. A spouse is still allowed to stretch that over her entire lifetime. So let's say Mr. Bob has a $300,000 IRA. He passes away. It goes to Miss Cindy. Miss Cindy has that 3 IRA. She takes it at her age based on his for RMD purposes, and she can keep that as a cash out and pay all the taxes now, or she can just put it into her name as a spousal IRA and continue to take out the RMDs according to Bob's age. So that one has not dissipated yet whatsoever. Do expect, though, in the next Secure Act renovations that they're going to change this, because the average, I looked this up before, it's actually interesting. The average year difference between marriages used to be 3 to 7 years, and now they're actually 6 to 15 years is the age difference between married couples. And so spousal IRAs, the government's not going to get their money as quick, and they don't like that at all. And this is a little screen here about a spousal IRA. It's in Mr. Smith's name, goes to Mrs. Smith's name. It decreases the spouse's IRA for surviving spouse to his own IRA. Funds are treated as though they were always the spouse's IRA anyway, and future distributions may be subject to 10% penalty if the surviving spouse is not 59 and a half or older. So that's as simple as ABC on a spousal rollover. The stretch IRA, as I mentioned, has changed quite a bit. It's only designated for beneficiaries, and they used to be able to, I'm sorry we didn't update this, can be stretched. To change that, we stretch IRAs over 10 years. It can't be stretched over their life expectancy anymore. Preserves tax deferral to stretch it up to that 10 years and helps minimize the taxes. For instance, I'm a child. My Mr. Bob leaves me a $500,000 IRA. Before January of last year, I could stretch that $500,000 over my lifetime. Now I have to take that over 10 years. So if I took $50,000 out a year, that would be my tax consequences. Going forward, once that 10-year hits, if that whole $500,000 is still in there, I have to take that all out at one time. I'm no longer allowed to stretch it more than 10 years. Very important to know with your accountant, your financial advisor, and your beneficiaries to be on the same page when it comes to the IRA. Hence why I'm a huge component of getting a trust and putting the trust as the beneficiary. That way the trust makes sure it's distributed the way you want to and how you want to over the correct time frame. Lo and behold, there we are with the trust. Is you keep control of the benefit of the money of the beneficiaries, and you can control the cost and complexity of them as well. So highly consider. We have a couple of attorneys that we work with that we highly recommend to you for trust purposes as well. So no, that's not George Carlin, but it does look a lot like him. But these are from potential pitfalls of IRAs, the beneficiaries. The inherited IRA must be properly titled. I have seen this a lot of times over my last 16, 17 years, where someone's came in and they had the IRA titled wrong for the beneficiary, just like the example, John Doe IRA deceased, FBO John Doe Jr. And it was boom. Well, they had basically, long story short, they had to pay taxes on the whole thing right up then and there because it's not titled properly. Multiple beneficiaries of the same IRA should generally establish separate inherited IRAs by the end of the year. Inherited IRAs can only be moved from trustee to trustee transfer. And there we are. That's the update right there. Inherited IRAs can no longer be stretched to a maximum of 10 years. A lot of people, believe it or not, don't care where their beneficiaries get the money from or where it goes to, but personally I do, because that's your money you worked your butt off for your whole life, and having them spend it properly would be a big key in my opinion. Talked about this a little bit earlier, Roth conversions. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I think it's very important to understand what a Roth conversion is. So you can convert your taxable IRA to a Roth and no longer have to pay taxes on it going forward with the principal and any earnings it's made. So example, Jill added $100,000 for income. The conversion will be taxed at Jill's income tax bracket. So if Jill had $100,000, she wanted to convert that $100,000, that's added to her income. So she'd probably pay about 24% taxes out of that money. So she'd pay $24,000 to have that converted to a Roth, and she would have that $76,000 now going forward, plus all its gains will grow tax-free. So later in life, when she wants to start taking money out, then I think taxes will be going up in the future. Personally, I'm not a tax professional, but you might want to ask them. I think they'll agree. Is now you're taking that money out tax-free. So you're paying your taxes now to avoid paying more taxes later. Roth conversions have been very popular these days. Roth basics, I love the Roth IRA, except for the fact you can't put enough into it. But as long as it's held for 5 years, it officially becomes a Roth, and there's no tax deduction when you unlike the traditional IRA, you get a tax deduction on it. This one you do not. Everything grows tax deferred and tax free with inside of the Roth. You can make contributions at any time, as long as you show earned income. Again, you can add to the Roth IRA. I have actually an 84-year-old I'm meeting in about 2 hours from now. He's coming in to give his tax. He's still teaching, and he's putting money into his Roth, so $7,000 every year. And it may include earnings that are also tax-free and qualified distributions. If structured properly, there are actually other ways of taking money out of a Roth without having to pay taxes on it. Similar rules to the traditional. Maximum contribution is $7,000 over the age of 50. You must have earned income or taxable liability. No age limit. Income. The one downside of the Roth is if your income is too high, they won't let you contribute to the Roth. Like if you're single and you're making over $117,000, they will not let you do it. If you're over $184,000 as a married couple, they do not let you make contributions to a Roth IRA. But they do allow you, on the flip side, they do allow you to do a Roth conversion, even if your income is over that level. That is irrelevant. And all distributions from a Roth IRA are tax and penalty free if you've had the Roth for more than 5 years and you're over 59 and a half. And the amount you convert can be distributed at any time, tax and penalty free. So it's nice. It's like you can take that money out if and when there's no RMD to take out of that Roth IRA. You have the full option of doing when you want, how you want, where you want of that money. It's yours and it's tax free. Never get sick of saying the word tax free. I'm sorry. And who can do it? Well, anyone can do it. It doesn't matter what age group you are. I have actually clients that are 10 years old. Well, the parents are doing it for them, but they open the Roth for them. The income limit we mentioned earlier, and no required working. But this question I missed is like for anyone who could convert to a Roth IRA for Roth conversions. There's no age limit, no income limits, and no requirements to be working to do a Roth conversion. I'm sorry, I misread my slide here. This is what the slide's about, is conversion. So if you wanted to do a conversion, doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter how much money you make or how little you make, and you don't have to be working if you don't want to. And they help reduce the risk of rising taxes. That's the one thing is like, well, a lot of people don't want to do a conversion now because they don't want to pay all the taxes now. And if someone has like a $500,000 IRA, they want to convert to me, I'd say, well, let's do this over 3 or 4 years and minimize the taxes, just add it to the account. So let's say if you had a $500,000 IRA, I'm just using 500,000, doesn't matter if you have that or not. Let's do it over 3 or 4 years, do 150 a year to minimize how much you can be paying taxes instead of doing it all at one time. Because you do it all at one time, you're going to be paying a higher tax bracket. And what this can really do to your income is it can help free up Social Security benefits in yourself, and it can also help you lower your Medicare Part B premiums. That's the benefit of a Roth IRA. And of course, you have no RMDs. You decide when you want to take out the distributions. It's tax-free for life. And if you pass away, it's kind of like life insurance. It goes to the beneficiary tax-free as well. So when it comes to coordinating your IRA, planning should be coordinated with other aspects in your whole world. This is where a lot of people fall themselves when they get into retirement. They hurt themselves more of anything. How is that IRA in your overall retirement plan, your estate plan, your tax planning, your education plan, your whole financial plan, and your income plan? How are you using your IRA? Is it just another investment that you have sitting out there with the title saying IRA, or does each one of them have a goal? Like a 457 is strictly for educational purposes for your children or grandchildren. Is it part of how you're going to be paying for Medicare? And this is the important thing when you're coordinating your IRA is when you're going to take it out, how much you're going to take out, when you're going to take it out. In planning with Social Security, many retirees do not properly evaluate the decision of when to apply for Social Security benefits, as we covered last week. When you should claim benefits is a personal decision that depends on many factors. Remember, it's about a 12 to 16-year break-even point when filing for Social Security. Social Security is basically a pension annuity. It's guaranteed for life, but includes cost of living adjustments. Hopefully you get those. And delaying Social Security can actually increase your monthly benefits. And many retirees claim Social Security earlier than they should, which that's one part of the whole slide I don't agree with. You take it when you need it. Like I said, as we showed last week, a person who's 62 versus a person who's 66, when they both hit 81 years old, they've taken out the same amount of money. So when it comes to Social Security, it's you want to enjoy it between the ages of 62 and 80 or 80 and above. That's a big question you have to ask yourself. But also, you have to take how much you're paying taxes if you're still working on Social Security. With delayed credits, you can be paying up to 85% again in taxes for Social Security. So 2 reasons to consider withdrawing money from an IRA to delay Social Security. Goes flip ways on both people. Reports have shown that Social Security is often the cheapest annuity you can buy because the other assets used to delay Social Security where an annuity bought, difference in monthly payments is by delaying Social Security. So you can take out money out of one. It's like taking money out of Peter to pay Paul. And the benefits is that at least 15% of Social Security benefits you receive will be tax-free, are generally more tax efficient than IRA withdrawals. So if you can have a Roth IRA and you can get away with it and take money from 62 to 66 or 66 to 70, you're going to get that annual 8% increase on your Social Security, God willing, and you'll have more money down the road and a lot less paying in taxes, which is the biggest part of this presentation, is knocking off the tax structure using your IRAs properly. And then coordinating your IRA with estate planning. IRAs and other retirement accounts generally pass via beneficiary. Your will does not control who gets your IRA, like false belief. Is trust can dictate where the money goes, but if you have a will, you can't really, because wills can be disputed, this, that, and the other, and can go through probate. Trusts and annuities do not go through probate with IRAs, and many people fail to appropriately update their beneficiary forms, leading to those problems. And some people are like, "Oh, I'm already dead, I don't care." Well, guess what? It's your money, your family. You should care a little bit for the most part. And unfortunately, I see a lot of people like, "Nah, they can fight it out." But just imagine putting yourself in your shoes many years ago. Did you want to fight it out? The odds are probably not. It's so complicated though. Every day the rules are changing. You have the Secure Act comes through. Social Security changed 3 years ago. RMDs just recently changed. And many retirees are unaware how critical IRA planning is. And remember that IRA planning intersects all the other aspects of your retirement plan. Now, if you look at let's call her Miss Jackson over here, and she's got a lot of arrows pointing all different ways, and those are all her investment accounts and her savings accounts. They all should be pointing up, because if you have a correct plan to take care of income, using your IRAs could supplement that very nicely. So we offer here, we have a Social Security analyzation report. We have an income planning report for wealth preservation. We have a life insurance audit we can do with Jeff, tax planning, annual income, life insurance and Medicare through Jeff, and complete planning with constant review is what we try to do with our services, is being a one-stop shop where you can come in and get an honest opinion, not have to pay us a fee to service for us to go over this stuff with you. But more importantly, if you do become a client, we contact you quite often, and we want to meet with you at least once or not more, 3, 4, 5 times a year and talk to you to make sure you're on the same roadmap, make sure all the taxes are in place, make sure your IRAs are in place, your income's there, especially if you look what's happened in the last 3 months of the stock market. I mean, it's gone up 500, down 500, down 300. I mean, it's a roller coaster at Carowinds. So knowing a plan to go through for the whole time is very important. I said, we don't charge anything. I get compensated by the companies we work with. You can email or text me at any time. We're always available 24/7. Yes, most of the time I have. Actually had an appointment yesterday morning at 4:30 in the morning with a client who got off work from American Airlines. Unfortunately, he was losing his job, so that was a very long appointment, but at least we're going to be able to help him out and get going forward. So don't be afraid to contact us for any information you might need. And what we can do for visiting with us is we can create a smarter Social Security report through our analyzation program. Believe it or not, I'd have about a 60-70% success rate with clients I've worked with income that get them to retire earlier than later, because once you have the income set up, everything else falls into place. And you can discover innovative ways to double or triple your income for as long as you live by using income increasing. You create income stream through the maximization zone, which means there's more ways of money going up without you realizing it. The best way to make money is not to lose money. You can learn about creating passive income for your retirement years, analyze your pension payouts, and extend potentially payouts through generations. We have actually a program called I for Life, which is a IRA program that was created 4 years ago, where you can take your IRA distributions and pass them down to as many as 5 beneficiaries all the way to the age of 2. So if you're taking out $5,000 a year, then it passes down to your child, and passes down to his grandchild and his child, and so forth. We also can help replace lost income with tax-free retirement income. Again, I appreciate you all listening to the presentation. And next week's presentation is Baby Boomer Basics, which is a really 101 for if you're a baby boomer to go through the beginning to the ending of retirement. And comes with a nice little 36-page booklet, that works booklet we send out for everybody to have as well. So if you want to sign up for that one, please do so. And again, if you want to follow us on Facebook, see our videos on YouTube and Twitter. We're not much into Twitter, but we do post Twitter things every once in a while. And as well as LinkedIn, we are there for you as well. So again, thank you so much to all of you for taking the last 37 minutes out of your day and cloudy weather out there to listen to the IRA basics. I hope you guys picked up a few tricks and treats here and there. If you have any questions, please do not feel. Oh, I have quite a few questions. I didn't even look. Thank you for asking those questions. If you have any other questions, feel free to email me or call me anytime. So, on behalf of myself and Clear Income Strategies Group, thanks again. Be safe, take care of yourself, be healthy, and hope to talk to you sometime in the near future. Take care and God bless.